Hello everyone, and welcome to another video where I moan about the industry a little bit. Don't want to make too many of these, but sometimes things happen and I kind of just want to let off some steam, so to speak. Now what I want to talk about today was the JIB/ECS Registered Electrician status scheme that's just been introduced, and what this is designed to do is help the GIB kind of bring the existing GIB Gold Card holders up a bit. The GIB Gold Card holders haven't been maintaining their competence. Well, most have, but some have not. And so there's no evidence that the GIB have really been aggressively seeking to improve or to get their GIB Gold Card holders to pick themselves up and keep moving with industry, keep moving with technology. And so what they've done is they've introduced this scheme as an incentive, really, to kind of motivate them to at least get the latest regulations. So I'll just quickly show you what this registered electrician status is about. Here's just a video of theirs.
The JIB has introduced a new ECS Registered Electrician status to raise standards across the industry and recognise electricians who are working at the top of their game. All ECS installation and maintenance electrician card holders who are also qualified in the current edition of the wiring regulations are eligible to apply. Why become a registered electrician? Get a well-deserved endorsement for your professionalism and skills. Stand out amongst your peers. Be proud of the time and effort you've put into your training and development. Increase your status and credibility in the industry. There's no extra cost to become a registered electrician if you're an existing card holder, and it's completely voluntary. To become an ECS registered electrician, you'll have to agree to a simple code of practice which include rules on working professionally and responsibly. You'll also need to keep on top of your professional development by keeping up to date with the wiring regulations before you renew your card. Once you sign up, you'll be able to download a virtual card onto a smartphone to show your registered status. To find out more, visit www.registeredelectrician.uk.
Okay. So they've introduced this registered electrician status. The way you obtain it is if you're an existing ECS Gold Card holder, you make sure you've got your most recent version of the wiring regulations. So currently we're on the 238.2.15, which is the Yellow Amendment 3 book. This one here. But again, as that updates, then I guess you have to update that, and then you submit that, and then you'll have your ECS accredited or ECS registered electrician status maintained. That's fine. But again, this is something they should have been doing for a long time now, and it's still not enough. Let me just show a couple of slides to kind of help illustrate what I'm trying to get across here. So this is industry. This is commercial, industrial, office, schools, universities, museums, whatever you want to call it, and here is your domestic houses and your houses of multiple occupancy. Good stuff. Alright. Here is the electricians. Is our fleet of electricians, and what we need is some level of monitoring and standard setting, and we have the GIB. They are known, especially with modern problems we've got with Part P and competent person schemes. GIB are known as the good old-fashioned way. They I'll be honest, they stick to their guns on that. You know, they will not give a GIB gold card to a person who's come through domestic installing training, which is brilliant. But they're trusted to be the setter of competent electrician status. And with the common nonsense we've got right now with Part P, a lot of people are leaning to the GIB as the bar. And what is the GIB? I mean, I've not got too much experience with them. But what I know with other people is how much, a lot of people I know who work with GIB or employed with GIB registered firms trust it and respect it, and they really follow it. And so I know that if you're working for a GIB registered employer, then the perks are there. There are, the GIB set standards for employment, wages, rates, healthcare. I went through it in the handbook. I mean, it's if you find an employer who is GIB registered, it looks like a good setup. It's a good thing to do. But the issue I have which is also on their site, is this bit here where they say, as a result, the GIB membership benefits the company and the employees. That's true, but it will assure the clients that they're engaging with qualified staff with technical competence. They do at the beginning. They will make sure that anyone who obtains the card has the qualifications required to obtain the card. But maintaining a card does not necessarily mean they're maintaining competence. And this is the problem. We assume that gold card, approved card, whatever, equals competence. Because that's easy for us to do, and it's easiest for us to select contractors and to select installers. But it's not maintained enough. That's the problem. But again, as I say, when you look at other things that we have in this industry, these people, and now there's many more of them with the Stroma, etc. You know, they just kind of want. Oh, there's a video down, right? They just want to have some input, but they don't necessarily control competence. Especially, they don't control competence in the way that GIB control competence. That's all well and good. We all know we need to work to the very latest version of the wine regulations. That's obvious. The NIC, NAPIT, ECA, they do a lot of their setting of assessments on that level. You must have the latest version, be working to the latest version. This is something the GIB haven't been paying much attention to, and as we'll see in a minute, the CEOs admitted to, and that's why this ECS registered scheme is there. But it still isn't enough. With Part P, creating a big problem as well. Yeah, the GIB is the setter, and this is basically the layout that the way I understand it. So to obtain a GIB gold card, you need to have NVQ level 3 and the practical assessment, which is the AM2, and then the electrotechnical certification scheme. As long as they can collect all that evidence, bear in mind the NVQ level 3 is evidence of experience and technical, because you have to fill in the NVQ portfolio. They judge that to be sufficient to say that you are competent, and then you go and have your AM2, which is I think it's a day or so, practical skills outside from your own work. So you go to a training place and you have your technical skills assessed, just to show you that you have, you know, occupational skills to do the work on a broad spectrum. They'll then say, yeah, they've got overall competence and they can obtain the gold card. That's all well and good. Here's where we get the problem. You're out. This is what we see as the finishing line with most people who go through that 3 or 4 year training journey, and it is a long slog. It's a long way to go, and so you see it's the finishing line. Yes, I'm there. I'm now one of you. I'm now an electrician. I can now, you know, charge them up. Yeah, that's all well and good. The problem is there's no emphasis or motivation by the GIB to carry on maintaining competence past that finishing line, past that post, and that's where we're now having this issue. So if I just show you this illustration here, this is what is considered right now as competence with these GIB cards, really. You start, you do your MVQ level 3 and AM2, and at the end of that you achieve your gold card status. If you can prove that those 2 or 3 years of training and you've achieved the AM2, that is the starting point. This is where it changes though. In the college you've been assessed and you've been trained for the vast scope of your area. So you've been doing some MI, you've been doing some tray, or some, I say MI, probably not doing that these days, tray and trunking and armoured, twin and earth, conduits, PVC, conduits, galvanized steel, whatever. You've been having to go all of that, developing a good competence on that, and the AM2 has assessed your skills with that. The problem is you then go to work. You have these blue, these highlighted blue, they're going to turn green in a minute because I haven't updated the slides, but these here represent different industries. So we can work in the domestic, we can work in the industrial. I know a few people that just work in street lighting. Throughout their whole apprenticeship, they only worked on street lighting, and so they couldn't really develop much technical competence in other areas. Once you're outside of your college environment where you're picking up those skills, you can become institutionalized in your area of work. And this is where the competent person card or the GIB card can fail you after a period of time. So you're fresh. Let's say you're fresh out of college. You've got competence. You now need to pick your area to work. Let's go with domestic. Okay. So we've gone into the domestic industry. We're a competent person. We've received our 3 or 4 year training. We've received our AM2 registration. We've obtained a GIB gold card. We're a competent person. Now, when we're working in the domestic, we may need to consider doing inspection and testing. This is an additional technical area, so we may need to possess that extra training, and we may then go back and get the approved electrician card after a year or two of work and inspection and testing experience. So we can upgrade the cards to the approved electrician, approved gold card. That's where most electricians want to get to. That's understandable. That's it. Now you're there for a year, you're there for 2 years, you're there for 3 years. All you're doing right now is you're taking your training and you're working in your industry, developing experience, maintaining competence. What happens though if all of a sudden the domestic industry takes on a new angle, such as solar or electric vehicle charging points? We now have developed knowledge that is needed. We don't have the EV charging technical knowledge, we don't have the solar PV technical knowledge, because we weren't given that back at college. So we need to take it upon ourselves to go and obtain these other qualifications, and we can obviously submit them to the JIB to have them put onto the back of our card, but we've automatically not achieved competence, even though our gold card still says that we are a competent person. So it does, at no point has the JIB said, okay, hang on, for that work you're about to do, are you competent to do that? You're going to start taking on electric vehicle charging point work? Okay, well hang on, the NVQ level 3 in college wasn't enough. Have you obtained this other qualification or other CPD to do this area of work? They don't do that. They don't monitor that. And that's a big problem. So you're automatically kind of lacking in competence. I mean, if the offering of CPD is available, or if the training is available, or maybe the JIB were to support that with training, I'm sure it'd be easy to do. They just don't do it. So let's say you come out of this. This is your 4-year. I don't like this. I'm going to change job. You're going to go on your 5th year to commercial. Now you may still have your inspection and testing to maintain your approved electrician gold card. You'll get your expired card. You'll send to the JIB to be refreshed. You go, oh, here are my old qualifications, and then here's my inspection and testing. Great, I have that card back. But that's it. It's using your old NVQ level 3 training. But you've just spent 4 years or so working in domestics. Do you still know how to do a perfect T or 90 degree in cable tray or trunking? Do you know how to terminate an MI if you come across it in these industries? And this is the problem. Whilst we achieve a level of competence at college, we then become, as I said earlier, institutionalized in our area of industry that we work in. And so some of those skills and crafts that we developed at college haven't gone. They've just got rusty, or they've just softened, or they've weakened, or they may have lost them altogether, who knows. And this is the problem. The JIB Gold Card doesn't recognise this. It doesn't say, oh no, you've been working in this industry, and it doesn't help you or support you by motivating you or even offering you training to maintain those skills. So what's happening is, as I said earlier on, the client's being told that, oh, yeah, JIB Gold Card, they're competent persons, you can rely on that. But if you've been working in one sector for so long and you suddenly jump to another, your previous NVQ level assessment training, it was good at the time, but you've obviously softened or weakened some of those skills to develop other skills in your sole area that you were working in domestic. And this is the big problem. Now, the way to fix this is to obviously let the client make sure that the person doing the work has the right qualifications for the work they want done. And so what is needed is an online portfolio or an online setup. The JIB know of a system similar to this by a company called SparkSafe, and they have obviously been trying to catch up. And good on the JIB. I mean, their CEO, Steve, did put in an article back in June. He put in an article talking about the 18th edition coming through for next year, the changes, and there's talk for licensing and all this stuff. He did add this in there. He said, however, while each gold card holder has been proven to meet the industry standard at the time of their entry to the scheme, which is most likely back here at college, the extent of documented continuous professional development over the years can vary considerably. Around 54% of the gold card holders have the 17th edition of the regulations. This means conversely that the other 46% do not. So a lot of these 46% probably have the 15th or the 16th. And it might be that that's fine, but if they're going to do work that requires updated knowledge on the wine regulations and technical development and things, then it needs to be possessed. The competence needs to be possessed. So what they're now saying is we will need to take a sensible and pragmatic approach to long-standing cardholders who have not to date been expected to hold the latest edition of BS 7671. This is back in June. So what they've had to do is come up with an idea, find a way to motivate the other 46% to go on get their regulations course. So what they've done is they found a way to separate the ones with the newest regs from the ones that didn't bother, and that is what this is. They're now having the words registered electrician put at the bottom of your card, and if you don't want to have registered electrician status, you're automatically slightly lower recognition now. So it's, you know, it's an incentive. It's an incentive, and it will work. But hopefully you can all understand that the wine regulations isn't going to maintain necessary competencies here. The wine regulations, I mean, from someone with my experience, is a bit of a Wally course. It's, you know, there are training companies that train it online only. They give you paper, pass paper, pass paper. It's a guaranteed pass course. Whilst it's an important course, no one's delivering it properly, and it's a big problem. And you can't use the wine regulations as this person's up to date in their competence bar. They have to obviously make sure they're competent for the nature of the work to be undertaken, which means EV, solar, PLC, fire alarms, emergency lighting, seeking further training, seeking further development. And that needs to be recognised. That's where they work, and let's collect that evidence. It's very easy to do, it's just not been done. What else have they been doing? Okay, so they've introduced this registered electrician, and I mentioned SparkSafe earlier on. I'll cover them in a minute. But what else have they added? They've added this. Also with this card, you'll get an online verification system which complements the new registered electrician status. It's a new system that allows clients and main contractors to verify the skills of electrical staff, launched by the JIB. The ECS Check is an online portal, provides instant information on the ECS cardholder status of those personnel sent to work on any particular site. Digital contractors can also use the system to showcase their work during tenders or projects, highlighting the skills and qualifications of their team. So they're taking your qualifications and they're putting them online for clients to see. This is a step toward this. This is a step toward this, but it doesn't actually support you in getting those qualifications or to getting that CPD. It allows the client to decide, to determine if you have sufficient competence. It's not support enough for this, to be honest. New service available across England, Wales and Northern Ireland has been introduced to give clients confidence in their contracts being carried out by fully qualified electrical personnel. It complements the launch of the Registered Electrician status, the ECS Registered Electrician status I should add, also launched this month by GB to recognise electricians who are qualified to both MVQ Level 3 and the current edition of the regs. So, to both this and this. At no point has the question on the knowledge of this, or this, or this, or this, or 20 other things that I can think of in my head that require further development from the Safe College MVQ. So it's not sufficient for clients' requirement. It's not good enough. Okay? But the purpose of this, twofold. It's a crafty attempt to provide an incentive for the 46% to get this new regulations, to make that 46% number lower. They need it because it looks bad. It looks bad on the GIB to have just under half of your members not being 70th edition. You know, it's as if all the gold cards have dust on them. It needs to be blown off. They need to find a way to get people motivated. That's the first. And the other one is, as I said, SparkSafe. SparkSafe is quite an unknown model. It's working very well where it works in Northern Ireland. SparkSafe license to practice scheme. The main mission is to help industry's clients select and appoint electrical contractors on the basis of competent workers through an online license to practice system. It's been introduced in Northern Ireland, its country of origin, where the main public sector procurement organisations with responsibility for Northern Ireland's infrastructure have included the license to practice requirements in any of their procurement process and contract award requirements. So they need to use it as a platform or a portal to verify the sufficient competence of the electricians. And for any electricians who join that, it actually means they have access to that work. And all that's going to happen then is, is companies in Northern Ireland who have to go through this government system will know that those persons have been properly vetted, and they can also say, well, they haven't got this or that. It's a very good system. It does need some, like I've said before, it does with this, it does need some kind of ability to recognise the specifics of the work to be undertaken, to recognise if EV is there or solar or anything that needs further training from the MVQs. It needs a bit more work on that, but it right now is an online learning platform. So yeah, SparkSafe, it's merged from the Electrical Training Trust, an employer-led training organisation. I mean, this is good. I mean, being that it's training based, or it's merged from a training organisation, so they recognise the problems with competency in the UK. As they're a Northern Ireland based trust, they've obviously built the platform there and they've put it there. Over here though, there's a lot more resistance and complications, and we need to kind of give them a bit of a hand in pushing the message across. What's happening is JIB are trying to do this but make it their own thing. You know, this is an original idea that works. NIC, ECA, NAPIT, they're going to try to obviously sugarcoat it or bring in their own card schemes with Stroma, we'll see. Okay, but this works. Its primary aim is to help industry's clients to select and appoint competent contractors on the basis of competent electrical workers through an online system. Bear in mind the JIB have just updated their system, but this shows you what SparkSafe had that JIB didn't. You know, it would monitor the current qualification of BS7671. JIB have just introduced this. You know, online worker functionality, you know, online visibility of workers. All of this is on the SparkSafe License to Practice website, and I do suggest you go and check it out, because they do, you know, they need to kind of push it out. Right, so where does this leave us for next year, 2018? Well, we now have a registered electrician and a registered electrician. We have the ECS Registered Electrician, which is the JIB's Registered Electrician. We also have the Registered Electrician, which is the Registered Electrician, which is from the Electrical Safety First, NIC, NAPITs, etc., where actually there may not be an electrician. We may have the Registered Electrician who is actually a domestic installer. So that's going to be fun, sorting that out. We have, obviously, NIC have recently mentioned that they're going to be starting to assess electricians individually within organisations, forming this agreement with NAPIT, because that's the way NAPIT do it at the moment. So there's going to be a lot of money going to the NIC for that one. There's also a rumour that Stroma, NIC and NAPIT are going to be joining some kind of group to issue cards graded on qualifications as well. I think it's because obviously if we start pushing cards and grading, they need to join forces to basically still look like they have some importance in this industry. I just wish that they'd actually, you know, do it properly. No one's doing it right. And then we have the 18th edition itself, which is coming out in July. There's going to be a few important tweaks in that. I've covered a couple of videos already, but there's going to be some newer videos as we get more information through early part of next year. But yeah, I think yeah, there's going to be an awful lot of there's going to be a lot of changes next year, but with no real substance, no real. It's going to be like name changes, procedure changes, but nothing's going to be improved. Nothing's going to be there's going to be not amongst this group anyway. Put it that way. Nothing's going to be bettered at all. All that's going to happen is we're just going to be driven to absolute insanity. Really, that's us. That's us over the course of the next couple of years. On the bus to progression with all this bollocks, basically. Well, I'll see you soon when I have another rant to have, probably. We'll see. Bye bye.